Good evening, everyone. Good evening, good evening, good evening. I hope and pray that each and every one of you are well this evening. I am so excited to welcome each of you to Wednesday Night Live. What a blessing it is to be alive. What a blessing it is to be in your presence and to see all of you all virtually. As always, on behalf of myself and First Lady, we are honored and excited and love you all dearly and love being your pastor and First Lady. And so again, shout out to everyone that's already coming in. Sister Cecily, hey, hey, hey. Mama Sherry, blessings to you. Sister Marcy, love you. Mama B, blessings to you. Mama Diane Lander, what's going on? Blessings to each and every one of you. And I know there's still more coming in. Listen, do me a favor. As you're watching me, I need you to share, share, share. Share this with your contacts on Facebook. Share this with your friends. Share this with your family members, because we're going to have an exciting and robust conversation tonight. And I'm so excited about our guest for the evening. Mother Carolyn Newman, blessings to you. Gigi, good evening. Welcome. Blessings to you. So glad to see everybody that is joining us today. A couple of things I want to always remind you all as we're preparing for the week to come. It is Wednesday. I know some of you all are really glad it's Wednesday. I am as well. But I also hope you're taking it easy on yourself and giving yourself grace. Shell Campbell, blessings to you. As a friendly reminder for all those businesses out there that would love to advertise their business with GHC, you have that opportunity. Just reach out to us at ministry at ghcebv.org. We would love to advertise your business during our morning service. We would also love to advertise your business on all of our social media platforms. So please, ma'am, please, sir, if you all know anybody that is in need of advertising, please let them know. And again, our number is going to be 812-303-8030. So thank you so much for that opportunity. Also, if you're looking to have an event or host an event and you need a space, GHC has space for you. So if you would like to book an event at GHC, please make sure you reach out to us at the same number. The Callaway Fellowship Hall will be available. And then finally, donate now. We have a campaign, Firestarter 2.0. We are so close to getting to a place where we can burn our mortgage, and the goal is Easter 2026, you all. Okay, it's already November. So the goal is Easter of 2026. So I need you all to get engaged. I need you all to lock in. Y'all see me tighten up my hat. Don't make fun of me. I need you all to lock in and engage, because this is going to be a wonderful and exciting time. We share information about our fundraising campaign every Sunday. We show where we are, our goal, our benchmarks, where we've met. So we are really, truly excited for all of you all that are engaged and active in helping us get to this point. So thank you so much. I love you all and honor you for your support. Again, don't forget, download the app. If you do not have the church app, you need to get the church app. Download our app, subscribe to text alerts and emails so that you can stay up to date about everything that is going on. And if you are considering being a first or second time guest with GHC, make sure you visit our website and schedule your first visit. Yes, you can schedule your first visit at GHC. Just go to www.ghcebv.org and schedule that visit. And there's also events and other information that will be pertinent for you. And then follow us on all social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, you name it. We would love to have you a part of our GHC family. Now, you all, I'm truly excited. Okay, what's going on, London? How are you doing, my sister? I'm really excited about tonight, because this is a topic that I've really been wrestling with and really wanted to get some expertise. And it's very important sometimes when you just admit that you don't know everything and you don't have the expertise, but there's somebody out there that does. And I am excited because I believe we have that person. And the topic tonight is going to be philanthropy in ministry. How do we raise money? What are the ethical ways of raising money? How do we talk about money? How do we engage our membership with conversations regarding money? Now, some of y'all gonna drop off now, and if y'all drop off, I'm gonna slap you to sleep, because that's not what this is about. Okay, I know I just asked you for some money for our fire starter, but what I'm saying is there should be a way, right, that we can have healthy conversations about giving. So I am excited tonight, my brothers and my sisters, ladies and gentlemen. We have the Reverend Robert K. Hargard with us, and I'm going to go ahead and do a quick introduction before I put him on the screen, because this is a bad brother. You hear me? A bad brother. All right. His unique blend of faith, politics, and academia has positioned him as a change maker dedicated to improving the lives of the overlooked and disenfranchised. As a gift officer, he has contributed to 3 organizations and capital campaigns: Rochester Regional Health at a $300 million fundraiser, Rochester Institute of Technology at $1 billion. Come on, y'all. Come on, y'all. I know some of y'all may not have a dollar. I don't have a dollar in my pocket right now. So $1 billion. Let's imagine that, right? And now he is at the prestigious Ivy League, Yale University, where the goal for a capital campaign has been $7 billion. Okay. He has led gift conversations for these organizations, focusing on scholarship, access for low-income students, workforce development, and social determinants of health, bolstering each organization's commitment to belonging. He currently serves at Yale University as the inaugural Associate Director of Leadership Giving, where he plays a leading role in executing plans to diversify Yale's overall donor base. He holds a bachelor's degree from American Baptist College and a master's degree from Colgate Rochester Crozer Divinity School. He is currently pursuing an EDD in educational administration with a focus on higher education at the University of Rochester. His research seeks to understand African American male, predominantly white institution students, race-based trauma, and the role multicultural centers play as counter spaces. You all, this man is awesome. I'm not bringing any jack legs up here for you all. I'm bringing the real deal. So my people, a dear friend of mine, my brother in the ministry, who has served in ministry on leadership level, pastoral level, but also, as you can tell, has a robust background in fundraising and philanthropy. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Robert K. Hoggard. My brother, what's going on with you?
Appreciate you, man. Thanks for that riveting introduction.
Listen, it's all real, right? You have done some amazing things. You have accomplished so much, and I love the impact that you have made from the church to politics to philanthropy. You're doing it, man, and so we honor you, and we thank you so much for taking time out to just have a conversation with us this evening.
Absolutely, always good to be with you all and your church. It's just amazing to be able to get there in person too. So
we're gonna get you here. I got something up my sleeve, Reverend Hoggard. We gonna get you here, man. But I'm gonna jump right in because I want to center our conversation. Like I said, I jokingly said, some people may drop off because they hear the word money and they run. But this is not what this is about. Really, the foundation of what I want to talk about tonight, Reverend Hoggard, is we've got two competing things happening right now.
Yeah.
First thing is we have a government crisis. We've got a president who is withholding SNAP benefits, other benefits from the American people that need it most. And a lot of those American people are in our congregations and look like us.
Right.
There are people that have been without jobs for days and weeks. There are families that are suffering and don't know how to pay mortgage or pay rent or pay for food. There are elderly that are struggling with how to pay medical bills, right? So we've got a cultural overall issue where there is a struggle for resources. There is limited resources. There is not that people don't want to, but there's a lot of stuff going on that is preventing people from being able to even take care of themselves, let alone something else outside of us. Then on the other hand, you have these videos, which I know it's older now, but you have these videos of prominent pastors and musicians like Marvin Winans.
Yeah.
And how we connect to people when they give. Now, I've seen it, Robert, you've seen it as well. The argument has been the woman didn't follow instructions and he was only calling the $1,000 people and she came up with $1,200. And we can go into all of that. But it made me think, with the way some of us in ministry treat those who give, who are donors, and where we're going in our country right now, I think a hard truth that most of us don't want to admit is there may be many people in your congregation that don't have it and faith has nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
Right? Like you may have that mother that's a church mother on the mother's board who has been retired for years. And it's not that she doesn't have faith in God, but she ain't got it.
Right.
You have the single father who's raising 3 or 4 children and he wants to give, but he don't got it. So I wanted to just center our conversation on where do we as the church go from this space and this place? How do we begin to talk about money? How do we talk about multiple streams of income? How do we talk about supporting those that are in need the most? So I just kind of, you want to use it as an introduction, and I'm going to let you just kind of jump in. Like, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, you put a lot out there, a lot to work through tonight, and we'll see what part of that we get through. But you're right, there are just so many sides here that yes, first primarily you brought up first that the church has to be responsive to those in need. This is a heavy time, and there are a lot of folks in need, from SNAP to job loss. In spaces where there are federal government jobs, and we know there's folks still working for the federal government that work remotely, so it just doesn't impact the DMV region, but it impacts all over. And just that heavy time is just it's heavy, and so we first have to be responsive to those in need, whether that is partnering with your food bank. We have so many churches, and I don't think we're giving voice enough to all of the churches who have stepped up to provide food in this time and through this time, and are doing it at a higher level than they did the year prior. So that's something that needs to be congratulated. We got to pause and reflect and say churches are really meeting the need. I think we can also take that a step further by getting many of our folks together and looking at folks and say, how do we? Because there are so many people who want to grow in their careers, and thinking about one thing that I want to do more of is the workshops, right? Where you now, where you want to be in 3-5 years, where you want to be in 10 years, and beyond the shout and tap your neighbor and the Lord's gonna do this, and the Lord's gonna do it. But how do we sit down and look at that resume? How do we sit down and see what networks are represented in the church? How do we sit down and really prep people for interviewing? Because it's always a skill that I've been gifted with, and sometimes I just go on interviews as a hobby, But how do we, really sit down with folks and really make sure they have the skills and the communication skills and the presentation skills so that they can, and just not, because we can't always, yes, we believe the effectual fervent prayer of the righteous availeth much, but we also have to move our feet. And we just said it. We don't just lean on, I'll pray for you, brothers, this time. But let me sit down with that resume. Where are you trying to be? Where are you right now? And what can I do to help you to where you're going? And these simple conversations can be, bright and folks arising. Even at my church, I had to tell a young sister, she was doing very well in school. And she said, I think I'll get my master's in criminology. I said, you got the smarts to go to law school. Why don't you just go to law school? You have much more options for that. And she was like, never thought about that. Thanks for pushing me. Those simple conversations and planting those seeds, I think, are important to do, particularly in a time like this, so that we can continue to push people to where God has taken them in a real workshop way, in a way that we could do in this lab space, if you will, laboratory space of learning and continue to gain these skills that will be helpful in the marketplace, not just in the church. I think that's the first thing.
Yeah.
And then the second thing you mentioned is, right, how do we, really grow in this church space where we mentioned, yes, we know the sort of event that happened, right? It's the space that happened where Pastor Marvel, and it's like, yes, I think first let me say this. There's so much there, but I think first I want to say that anytime there's something that happens in church, there are always what I call those vulture Christians. Those vulture people trying to get Christians, right? The vulture people just waiting for something to happen to get us and say, see, the church, they hurt me, they hurting people, they hurting you, see, the church is out there, and you got to watch out for those people, because no matter, they're just waiting on the next case to talk about, and that's not what we're here. What we're here to do is to talk about, we're not here to down Pastor Wayne, but what we're here to talk about is how can we do this in the best practice, and how can we grow in the ministry space and really do more without browbeating folks. And I think there's more in the stewardship and fundraising space to really think through that. I've challenged myself to do, because I think it's easy to browbeat, what I challenge myself to do is to really think into the creative and imaginative sort of mind of the members. Hey, here's what we've done this year with the resources that you gave. I just want to total things up. We've as we go along, I'll say, we've supported this food bank. we've done this, we've done that. And to get them to think about what we're doing, and then even in the preaching moment and the announcement moment, saying, hey, here's what we could do. I'm in a church where we're in a space, a small space of this industrial park. We want to take
Mm.
industrial park. And so many preachers have come in and didn't know and prophesied, you're going to take this campus and the Lord's going to have you take this campus. But how do we do this in a practical week by week space? And what does that look like? And I've challenged the church to think with me. Imagine if we had a daycare in this facility, and a daycare that didn't charge you what they charge you out there, because the daycare is just like another mortgage, another it's like a second rent for you to have daycare. But what if the church could have daycare and have it in a space that was lower than they were charging in the marketplace? And what if we had Sister So and So who come in and have her salon shop right here? What if we had Black businesses that are right here, and really trying to think through what that means year by year and how that space, and then when you can get them, you can really drive ownership more, because it's like, wow, this is going to be a space that my kids can go. This is going to be a space that'll really help us. So if I can put my $5 on it and not my dollar on it, if I can stretch myself from $5 to $15 a week, if I can stretch myself from $20 to $50 a week, there's so much we can have that can help me and help my people around. Those are the things that I would kind of start with.
Fantastic. No, this is wonderful. So, Robert, you mentioned something about giving and how we give. How should we talk to our people about giving? And you brought up a really good point. And I want to reiterate it. We're not here to bash anybody, particularly Bishop Marvin Winans. We love Bishop Winans. But that moment in time raised a very important question. Because, Robert, you are the expert in this field, but I'm going to make an intellectual assumption. Had that been a person that came to your office at Yale University and handed you a check, I don't think you would have said, I called for the 1 billion. You need to wait in the line, right? So how do we engage our members? How do we talk about money, and how should we ask for money?
Yeah, I think that's an important part. You're right. If it was $1,000 regular to Yale, I would take about to lunch. I would say, thank you for this. This is amazing. Here's what we're doing with this now. And just simply say thank you. And then almost take the cues, and always try to put the cues in their sort of put them in the driver's seat and say, all right, what does your philanthropy look like this year? And how is this organization in your sort of plans, and how can we have a greater space in your plans, and really thinking about this conversation. And I think there's some room for the church to really sort of meet that mandate, because I think a lot of us come as, well, says we got a tithing is right, and yes, I believe that tithing teaching be what are some ways that we could engage? There are here, and say, hey, be giving and then building a budget around that. So that way you're level setting, and you're pushing them to think about their philanthropy, because church is a part of the philanthropy. And there are many people that I meet with on my 9 to 5 who say, hey, just letting you know, my church is getting my 10%, and my church is top of my philanthropy, and Yale is not going to get more than my church, So really thinking about how we're nicer, how we're engaging in this conversation. As I said before, how we're imaginative, but really thinking through what are some other creative ways where we can sort of have this space. And I know you all are really engaging in a lot of this. You launch a capital campaign, showing folks, what you can do with more, and how you can sort of broaden the horizon. And I think that's something that you already have in that space. So I think, we have to be more sort of open to, sitting down and reasoning and talking with folks and making them feel ownership in the process, rather than saying, I'm the pastor, I'm doing this, let's go, this is what we're doing, come on. And it's just like, nah, that doesn't give up for enough. You want to build that ownership. It is so much in fundraising when we talk about building that ownership in the process, and that you can do much more when you get that ownership in the long-term vision.
Yeah, I've always, when we read that scripture, bring all the tithes into the storehouse so that there may be meat in my house, I often think, where's the meat? You know what I'm saying, man? Like, yeah. I think a lot of times we don't know how to show our people the meat. That we say, bring the tithes, put them in the storehouse, but we don't show them where the meat lives in his house. And so I love that point that you brought up about, talking about what ministries have been impacted, showing percentages to say, this is how much of what you've given has gone to this. And so I think that is very important. What are your strategies as a pastor, as a leader in philanthropy, to say thank you? Do you just do like verbal thank yous from the pulpit? Do you do cards? Like, what would you suggest?
Yeah, so certainly verbal thank yous from the pulpit, and especially in offering time. I think I've challenged myself in that offering space not to be like, all right, y'all, let's come on and and read the the Lord requires us to blah blah blah, but talk about it's a heavy time, y'all. And in this heavy time, here's what we've done. We're partnering to do more with the food bank. Let us know if you need resources. We're doing this, we're doing that. And really talking about each week how we've really supported resources beyond the meeting, like the church bills, because it's like a lot of folks are like, well, I got my own bills. I got to keep my own lights on at my house, But when you can talk about the things you're doing in the community, when you can talk about tutoring programs, when you can talk about those things in that moment of that 90 seconds to 2 minutes that you're talking through offering, that is a big space that you can get in that space. And one thing that I'm challenging myself to do through this end of the year and through next year is to do thank you notes, to really do thank you notes and individual thank you notes for folks, and so they really can feel a part. And it's like, oh wow, they said thank you. This feels good. This feels good. There's another process that as we grow, we really have to think about, is it something that we want to continue to do? But I think it is. We have a process that our practice is we honor everyone's birthday, and we announce everyone's birthday, card, some candy, women get flowers, and we just honor their birthday and make them feel like, yeah, this is the place I want to be, and we're a part of the family, and we're going to celebrate everyone together. So it takes us being organized to do that. We can't forget birthdays because there's something we forgot, but it also challenges us to really think about other folks and how we're grateful and thankful in that way. So I think that's a practice that it takes much more work, but it just has maximum impact. So we're like, wow, and there are many folks who, man, my family didn't even celebrate my birthday, but my church did. My goodness, I feel so a part of this ministry. Making people feel a part is a part of it, right? And getting to that ownership on the impact. So I think those are some of the things that we challenge us to do. And another thing we want to do this year is create an impact statement of all the things this year to say, all right, not only did we support this food bank, but it fed 400 families, whatever the quantifiable amount of it. We supported the scholarship fund. And the scholarship fund was able to support 2 students going to such and such college, and on and on and on and on and on. Because when you go back to the year, you're like, wow, we did a lot this year. Yeah. We're going to have I want to do printed booklet statements for each member to see, here's all the things we've done beyond lights, rent. Here's the things that we've done for this church and for this community and communities across the state. I think it's helpful for people to see that. They're like, wow, they're energized going into the new year to see an impact statement, almost like any other nonprofit.
Wonderful. And this is beautiful. So Robert, tell me, what are some practices that are in. We talked about just the thank you, being nicer, as you said. What are some other practices that you see in everyday fundraising and philanthropy that you would like to incorporate in the church on a regular basis?
That's good. Yeah, we talked about thank you notes.
Mm,
Talked about impact statements. Really seeing those impact statements. There's another thing that I think we could really parse out is I have a daughter who created an endowed scholarship in forever, be able to spin off and support students. And every year, you get a report on who the student is, what their major is, what their plans are, what all that stuff. Why couldn't we do that for the church? The church supports
mm,
scholarships. A lot of scholarships we have Education Sunday. We say, oh, we're supporting these students, and there are some churches that will say, hey, this is their major, this is what they're doing. But what if we followed up? Here's their major. Here's where they're going. Here's the maybe they were a senior and they're going out to from college and and graduating. Here's the job. Here's what they said about the job. Here's what they said about how grateful they are with the church. Those impact statements from scholarships. I mean, goodness, you could just see how it helps you see your impact, and you want to hang your hat on these sort of efforts that make you see the impact that the church is making in everyday life and how to better folks beyond will pray for
mm.
you, will lay hands on you. Like, this is the day to day. We're walking with you Monday through Saturday to really do this thing and see that. So I think that could be a big space in stewardship. Those scholarship reports producing those spaces. And I think another thing we've seen is, which I think you've done a good job at this, so you got to keep this up, is this webinar space. We see a lot of times in philanthropy where they'll bring the director or so-and-so of this program and say, here's how the program is going, here's what's doing. And why can't the church do that? You've been supporting the food bank, you've been supporting the tutoring group, you've been supporting scholarships. Why can't we have folks really sit down? Why can't we have a fireside chat with the folks that we support for scholarships and the great things they're doing and how it's helped their lives? Think about that space that we could really ride in, that space of just webinar space of, hey, we're just going to have a chat and chew, a fireside chat with this, of course, with their consent, with this family that we impacted. We're going to have a fireside chat with some folks and seeing how that goes. Or, one of my practices, I really try to stay involved in schools and education with the youth and visiting the youth and so forth. And particularly if it's like they're having a bad, sort of season, we'll say, of getting suspended, getting in trouble. It's always much more than the suspension of the trouble. It's always that maybe there's something going on, and maybe there's a way where the church can step in and say, hey man, I see you. Hey,
Yeah.
hey, young lady, I see you. You got this. And they just need to have that encouragement. And then you never know from that encouragement from where they are and them sort of having obstacles in academics to them being where they are. Why can't we, after the many students who after the pastor steps in and say, come on, you could do better, and then they're going to tutoring and then they have a better report card. Why can't we talk to some 8th grader or some 9th grader that's like, you know what, Pat, that this youth ministry was so helpful to me. My pastor was so helpful to me. Now I'm successful, and here's why.
Wow.
And folks to hear that. Those are some kind of things that really connects us, that hears us, that we can see and touch the vision. And when we can see, touch the vision,
Yeah.
we could go so far. So I think some of those things are.
Wow, that's beautiful. That really is. And I'm writing notes. So if you see me looking away, I'm stealing all these ideas. But so I guess for me, the impact statements, putting information out there. But one of the things that you mentioned that I really think we need to really touch is a lot of pastors are seeking gifts and they're seeking donations, but there is no relationship. So how do we build relationships with people? How do we engage? How do we engage building those relationships with our members to ensure that it's not just a um, it's not just a as you said earlier, just give, pressing us to give, imploring us to give. Are there different strategies from your perspective where we could begin to build those relationships? I don't know if you can hear me or not, Robert. Looks like you may have some issues with your sound, but you may not be able to hear me. Oh, can you hear me, Robert? Okay, no worries. I'll let you work that out. But one of the reasons why I said building those relationships is because I also think that we have, again, going back to the point about members who are faithful, who are giving, who are tithing, who we know uh, uh, that we know that they love the Lord. We know that they are committed to fellowshipping in the ministry. However, they are just in a place where their resources may be a challenge for them. And so trying to be sensitive, and I don't know, there may be some people in the chat that you can probably uh um you might be able to put your questions in or put your experiences in, but I think there's a lot of people that will honestly say that it can be a challenge. It can be very, very hard. It can be a overwhelming concern. I'm sorry, I know Brother Hargett's trying to get his sound together. We might have some technical difficulty, but I think one of the challenges that we often face is how do I get to a place in a space where as a church, we are not trying to, you know, rehash, what we know the Bible has said. We're not trying, and rehash may not be the right word, but we're not trying to put anyone in a position where they are now, they feel as if they are destitute, or they feel like, we have to give, you know, to the church, but there's also some things that I really need to deal with, I'm concerned with, that I'm struggling with. And so I think as pastors and leaders in churches, we have to be sensitive. We have to be very sensitive to the fact that there are people that may be struggling. So my position is this. I always say, listen, the Bible says we got to give 10%. Sometimes that is a journey. Sometimes we have to work our way to that 10%. So give what you can. Give what you can in that moment. Give what you can in that season, and work your way to that 10%. And when you're working that your way to that 10%, we are still cheering for you. We are still honoring you as a member of the church. We still show appreciation to you because we understand that all these things are going on in your life. We understand that bills happen. We understand that we're going through a crazy economic time. And so we have to be diligent as leaders of the church to not, oh, you only gave this much, so you're not important. That's unchristlike to me, right? And so engaging, and you all let me know, if you all think I'm just like, it is what it is, and people gonna give and they're not gonna give. But what are your thoughts? And you can just put them in the chat. Like, how can we as a church do a better job, ready, of encouraging people to give and celebrating the levels at where they start, right? To say, hey, that $5 that you've been given every Sunday, it may not seem like much to someone else, but it's a lot for you, and it means the world to us because we know the work that you're doing. We know how hard you're fighting to keep the bills paid and to stay afloat. And so it is our job not to beat you up, but it is our job to encourage you. Rev, can you hear me?
Yes.
We praise the name of Jesus. It's okay. These things happen. It's all good. We live. It's good. We cool. But what I was saying is one of the things, and I'm going to be a little repetitive, but one of the things I do is I tell my congregation, hey, listen, tithe. It is a mandate from the Bible. But if you don't have 10%, give me 2. Give me 3.5. Give me 5%. And let's encourage you to work up to that 10%. Not saying that 10% don't matter, but how do we celebrate the little gifts, Reverend Harkert? How do we celebrate those people, as I said before? Hey, JC, I know you got 7 kids. I know you're raising them with you and your lady. I know it's a struggle. So we need to celebrate I know that extra $25 every week could be going to gas, but you are committing to giving that to God. We thank you for that, and we honor you for that. And we want to, how do we need to, is there a better way for us as leaders, as children of God, to encourage that kind of giving?
Yeah, I think we can, because I think we always push to say, oh man, you got to be getting 10%. You got to be on. If you don't get that 10%, you robbing God. Don't rob God. Don't be a theft. Don't go on and don't be a crook. And I think there are some ways where folks may not be in that space now, but they can give in an impactful way, and they can put 5 on it. But for some folks, $1 could be a stretch. $5 could be a stretch. $20 could be a stretch. But those efforts in giving at that level can be huge. And we've seen even presidential candidates who the average donation is $20-something, but they're raising millions of dollars for a campaign. And it's like, yeah, I mean, they've got thousands, but it shows you even at in giving at small increments, you get a bunch of people who give at small increments. There's so much that you could do when you pool money and grow money in that way, and you can really see a lot of impact in that way. So I think it's a avenue that we miss in church because we want to just see, we got to have the $2,000 line, we got to have the $1,000 line, but it's something that we could definitely work more on.
Okay, Reverend Harkert, I want to play devil's advocate for a second. You know me. Now, Reverend Harkert, Pastor JC, they got money for the new Jordans. And they got money to go out of town to Punta Cana, to Miami. They need to have money for the Lord. How do we handle that?
Look, and that's something I got to challenge myself too, because I'm guilty for going there. When you get frustrated and you're like, man, we could do so much more with resources, and man, they buying the VIP section at the club. They got more. You can put way more in church. You got $5,000 saved up. Go on and put some more in church. But when I think I've gotten nicer when I've looked at the fact that I ask them, like, how are they doing it? They may have gone to Punta Cana, but they got to finance that thing. They got to go to a firm and Afterpay to get, to pay $100. So.
Hey, listen, to all my Affirm and Afterpay folks, no shade. We love y'all, okay? But we know you did it. So
I've done it before too. I'm an Affirm guy too. I've just paid off some Affirm that I went on a cruise with.
So, but is it a value issue, Pastor? Is it I don't see the value in my church, or is it I see the value more in that bottle service? I see it more in the vacation, because there are probably some people thinking like, yeah, I did all that, but I shouldn't have to answer. And that's a very important question. I should not have to answer to the church about how I manage my finances. I give what I want to give, and it is what it is.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of both.
Okay.
I think we all should have fun. I think we should all have these moments where we have fun. Go on that cruise, take that vacation, as long as you're doing it within reason.
Yeah.
But also, at the same time, the gospel teaches us that it's better to give than to receive.
Yeah.
You got to be concerned about the least of these, all of these gospel red letters, scriptures that Jesus challenges us to really think about how can we give in others and so in others, and that's how we can really be blessed. And that's what this thing in giving is about. That's what's different when I give to my alma mater or when I give to something in the community. It's different. But when I give with this gospel mandate in mind and say, you know what, I'm really giving because the gospel impels me to give. I want to give to those who are less fortunate. I want to give to improve the lives of others, because when I give more to others, then I'm going to receive myself. Now, I'm not saying that every time somebody asks you for $20, you got to do it. But what I'm saying is when you step and when you stretch yourself in supporting others and giving to others, that's where you find yourself in the center of gospel. So I think it is values. And I think on one hand, we have where churches have kind of browbeat. Oh, you got to do this. Come on, you got to tithe. Don't rob God. Come on, you robbing God. That we're either there, or a lot of churches are not even talking about it, but still frustrated. And so we got to find this middle ground where we do talk about it, but we talk about it in a way that drives impact, in a way that increases discipleship, in that middle ground way. Yes, I'm not saying don't talk about it, because there's some folks who are like, oh, we're not going to talk about it. And you'll see in some of these, and nothing against these startup, the sort of startup churches that are church plants, and they'll do it. They'll try to. Some of them will try to do it in like a way that you're really not paying attention to it. We got the sort of on the back of your seat, you just scan in, and we're not even. There's no even pausing for when you get up and walk around, because then it feels like when you get up and walk around, it's like, oh man, they really get my coin, and then it's a whole 90-second speech of why you should give. It feels like a shake. But when you're in some of these, bigger church plants, it's like, oh, the QR code is on the back of your seat. Whatever you have in mind to give, you give. And so it's a more of a sophisticated way of not feeling that. But we have to think about this middle ground of not, refusing not to talk about it, but then browbeating to really drive maximum impact.
Yeah, absolutely. Are we as a church in a place where, you mentioned it earlier, the daycare and other opportunities? You mentioned your church is in an industrial area. Are we at a place now, Reverend Hargard, where it's like, y'all, the church needs multiple streams of income? And here's why. Are we there? I know historically the church has always leaned, if you will, on the giving of the members.
Yeah.
But is there not a model from your perspective where the church has streams of income that cover bills and other things, while giving primarily the majority of it goes to the actual doing of ministry? Like, where do you see the church in the next 5 to 10 years on the subject of like philanthropy and different streams of income?
Yeah, this space is a huge space, because there are much more things that the church could do with grants, and I've written a lot of grants for churches because it's a space that I feel like we've got to tap into more. But we have to be mindful of where the resources come, because there's so many churches that get into the grant space, into the state and federal grants, and then they get bogged down into the politics and feeling like they can't speak up. So thinking about, maybe you're saying, all right, I want to get this VBS program funded and turn it into a summer program that has all this enrichment and all these components, and receive some funding from some foundations in the community. That's something that a lot of folks are moving to. Like I said, even from, you'll and I think it'll be transformative for your ministry. I even see you talking about how renting out space in the church. That is something that can definitely, I think that's something we sleep on. That's something that can definitely drive other streams of incomes and having folks come in within reason and folks you want to partner to. Good folks are doing stuff in the community, whether it's tutoring or whether it's, they want to have a gathering. Sure, come on in here and for a small fee, you can come here and have the church. I think that's something that has been powerful in the past and something that you continue to do. And that's just trusted money that's going to come in. And once you get folks that come in, be nice to them and be hospitable so they can come on back and be, and that's also part of marketing. You're hospitable to them. You never know when they're talking to somebody else like, yeah, I just had a space at the church and it was amazing. Call this number, so-and-so. Yeah, call GHC. They're gonna take care of you. They took care of us. That's part of marketing. The other part is, another thing that, and I got to get on it with my own church, is every Walmart has a space where, in the grant making space, where they can give out a certain amount of money per year. You want to make sure you get with your local Walmart and your general manager and see if there could be some opportunities where they might support what you're doing. That's a space that, that can happen. You want to talk to your local foundations that are in the area and you're in the foundation space, that are in the area and want to support things. I think we could do a lot more work in the foundation space. We could do a lot more work in talking to corporate folks. We could do a lot more work in understanding who works in our a church. I had a church. I was working with a church one time in there, and I was just so impressed. The treasurer was talking about, when so-and-so gives philanthropically, they get matched. Their funds get matched from their company. We should fill out the form so that we can get the match and make sure our 501c is straight. And I was like, look at y'all doing that. That's sleep on. There are so many companies that you never know. It could be one or two people that go to your church, work at your church, and their companies match what they do philanthropically. Goldman Sachs is big for it. There's so many companies that are big for doing that. And that's a space that I think, we could definitely drive more resources and you could double that impact. So I think those are some of the things that we could definitely tap into more. We could definitely tap into, denominations, whatever denomination you're connected to, make sure you're tapped into leveraging the resources from whatever denomination you're, connected to. You never know. There might be I was pastoring a American Baptist church in Rochester, and there were funds that paid for the overhaul of everything, because at the point they weren't on. There was no Facebook Live, there was no Facebook, there was no YouTube, there was no website. We did all of that, and the denomination paid for all of that. And so tapping into the denomination is also something you can do. There's so many different avenues that you can sort of tap into.
How do you partner with businesses you mentioned earlier, and I love this idea because I've been talking to GHC about this, about getting businesses to rent space, office space, utilize shared space within your church. What is a step that you would use to start that process?
I would start a process with, it could be a business that you don't interact with, but I would start sort of polling, and I do it in a fraternity actually, where we keep track of the Phi Beta Sigma fraternity incorporated. We keep track of our local chapter, and all the chapters across the country are charged to keep track of all the dollars we spend for Black businesses, where they are, who they are, what they do, how much money it was, and we keep track of that year by year. Yeah, we did that in the church space. And what if we polled our members to figure out what businesses are they going to? What businesses are they tapping into? Because you never know. We could say, all right, we looked at GAC and all the members, and 20 members from GAC all go to this barbecue shack. And they go to the local barbecue shop. I don't know. I haven't been there, but I'm going to eat when I come see you. We go to this barbecue shop, and we spent $600 from our church at Church Shack. Let's partner together. Let's see how we can grow, and you can grow. We can grow together. And so I would first start in the spaces that you already go to, you already travel to, and see how could there be maximum impact. Like there's a Mediterranean spot I go to. I got to get my chopped up lamb with the rice, and and I found out that while they do the dinner space, they vendor out for the suites. And I had the red velvet, and the red velvet was like, it ain't really hitting like it is.
Yeah, yeah.
So, Scout, I know somebody that can help cook, that can cook these cakes, that can vendor with you. That's a black-owned business, and I'm going to work, you know. And I'm like, maybe I need to be in that space more. I want to help this business get her suites into that business. And I'm like, as a customer, it's going to be better for me because I'm going to want to buy the cake. It's good cake, and if I'm going to want it, and everybody I know like it, let's make her a vendor. Let's talk to the general manager about being a vendor. And that's something that I do in my space now. And I think when I've taken an inventory of where I go individually, it challenges me to step up and to frequent the same places, because then you become a favorite customer, and then you
that relationship. Yeah,
exactly. So I think those are some of the things that I want to kind of start and then broaden out.
Fantastic. We're running out of time, and this has been an amazing conversation. I want us to end on this note. How should a church build their budget based on their giving? I see a lot of churches that build their budget based on their dreams, but not build their budgets based on the reality of ministry.
Right.
And I think I remember you saying something earlier about asking, like, hey, what's your expected giving, and building that budget. What are your thoughts about saying, or taking, hey, we made this in 2025, so we expect every year we do a 2 or 3% increase, so that's going to be the budget. How do you normally, in your office, in your church, how do you gauge that?
Yeah, that's something that we got to look at more. I've been a fan of, and I did it in my last church, and I got to incorporate it now. I'm writing all these things down. I was like, here's the thing that it's in my brain, and it didn't make the pen, and I got to put it in action. I know.
That's good. Great.
Because I've been executive pastor, so I'm always in the vision development space.
Yeah.
As I was like, he gets the vision, and I'm like, all right, we got to run with it.
Yeah.
So I've been a fan of profit loss statements, because it really shows where you are in that quarter and where you are. And if finances are a tight piece for you, you want to monitor it more. You don't want to get every cent, every dollar, but you do want to see how you can monitor and keep a tight monitor on space and how you're spending, and the point in which in time you're spending, and how you really think about spreading payments out. It's like, all right, maybe there was a space where it's like, oh man, we've had so many guest preachers in this space. Can we spread it out? Or there's a lot of increase of funding in this third quarter. Can we spread something out to the second quarter? And really looking at expenses and how we spread out expenses so the cash flow looks good and that all looks great. So I think that's something that we've got to challenge to do in that space. And the profit loss statements is a huge asset to kind of show you where you are and where you're going and what needs to shift. But year by year, you want to do more. I mean, you got to account for inflation. Things are going to cost more, so you're going to need more. But when you build that budget, you can't just, yes, you want to have faith. And you're like, I want to go somewhere in 5 years. I want to go somewhere in 10 years. But you also have to be realistic and say, all right, here's what the Lord is going to give us more. But here's what we got right now. How do we be good stewards of it now, so that we could be stewards of what's to come? Because to whom much is given, much is required. Let's put some Bible on it. And so thinking about that space, I think, is a great space to kind of think about what that looks like. So those are some of the tools and tidbits I think I bring to that financial.
Fantastic. Well, Reverend Hoggard, listen, this has been amazing. I want to end it with a comment from our comment section. Brother Williams says the Garden of Eden had 4 streams flowing into it. Nothing wrong with the church having multiple streams of income for forwarding the kingdom of God. I'm gonna put that back up. I love that. And I implore every pastor watching this to steal that, okay? Because that is a revelation from God. Do you hear me? This is amazing. And I think, again, we are humans who are advancing the kingdom. We want to do what is best. We hope to do what is in the best interest of the church. And so we have to be thinking about these things. And pastors, we have to be thinking about these things. Executive pastors, we have to be thinking about these things. So as we go into this next phase of our lives, if we go into a brand new year, with brand new demands and brand new expectations, let's be thinking about how we communicate with our members during giving, how we encourage them, how we implore them, how we talk about finances and talk about money. I think that is going to be absolutely imperative. So, Reverend Hargard, I honor you. I thank you so much for all that you do. I thank you for the ministry that you have. And I'm gonna put you in the room because I'll bring you back in after I've shut down here. But thank you, thank you, thank you. Anything else you want to say to the people?
Oh, thanks. This has been great, and can't wait to get to Indiana to see all of you smiling faces in this place. And let's collaborate. We are so much better when we collaborate. And I had a mentor that always used to tell me that excellence cannot happen in isolation. We're better when we connect and when we unify. Let's unify and let's take 2026 by storm.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you so much, Reverend Harder. We are so excited and honored. To all of you all, I hope this has been a blessing to you. I hope you have learned something. I have learned a lot, and let's apply it to our ministries and to our churches and to our leadership. I want to make a quick note that I want everybody to save the date for Wednesday, December 31st. We are having our New Year's Eve celebration at 9 p.m. at the church. Again, that is Wednesday, December 31st. That we're going to celebrate our New Year's Eve. And this is a beautiful thing because it is going to be a community celebration. We are bringing 7 churches together at GHC to come and worship God together. Along with that, we're going to have a mass choir that is led by our very own Minister of Music, Emily Parker. And those rehearsals are going to be December 18th and the 27th. Again, mass choir rehearsals December 18th and the 27th at 6 o'clock p.m. at GHC 1228 Lodge Avenue. And of course, our service is going to be December 31st at 9 p.m. and a flyer will go out. I am so very excited about it, and so excited about what God is doing in the life of our ministry. Love you all with my whole heart. Thank you so much again. Again, shout out to Brother Hargard, who has done a fantastic and phenomenal job talking about giving and philanthropy. It has been absolutely wonderful. You all take care. Be good. I cannot wait to see you on Sunday. Blessings, love with all my heart. See you soon.